16th inning, 2-2 Beltrán. Ripped in the air to deep right field. Abreu looks up, and we're going home. Beltrán with a home run. Rips it for the Mets in the bottom of the 16th inning. 12:33 a.m. Carlos Beltrán hits the Mets' longest game in 11 years with a walk-off home run. Andruw Jones chasing way back to the wall. He made a dazzling grab. Oh, Andruw Jones on the dead sprint to take away a home run from the line of the field with a magnificent catch.
All right, here we go. Trying new things out, baby. Here we go. It is your guy, Santos, the baseball aficionado. Happy to be with you once more. Trying new things in this 2026. And here we go. You guys see the title. Carlos Beltrán, Andruw Jones were inducted into the Hall of Fame, or were voted into the Hall of Fame. Obviously, the ceremony will take place in July, and I'm really excited about that, you know, on multiple fronts. Obviously, soy puertorriqueño, soy boricua, that goes without saying, diehard Mets fan, all those things. And so when you tie that in, when you put that all together, it's quite the treat, you know. And so for me, it's just one of those things that it's great to see. It is quite the treat when you see finally the voters got it right. Now we know what happened with Carlos. We understand. I'm not gonna rehash all that. You know, the sign stealing thing and all those different things that took place. We know that why it took Carlos so long to get into the Hall of Fame. But if you just separate that and you just take a look at the numbers, you take a look at what he's done as a switch hitter. If you take a look at the top 5 switch hitter numbers all time, not just Latinos, just in general, right? If you take a look at Carlos Beltrán's numbers, they are top 5 all time among all switch hitters. I mean, you're talking about Eddie Murray, you're talking about Chipper Jones, you're talking about Mickey Mantle. He's on that list. Now, I'm not, wherever you want to place him or wherever he's ranked, by your rankings or by your metrics, whatever, right? It is what it is. But there's no dispute as far as where he stands all time. Carlos Beltrán, as far as being a top, you know, one of the top switch hitters of his era. I mean, there's no debate. There's really no debate. And so the interesting thing, when you take a look at the Hall of Fame, right? People want to complain, which I want to mention about Rob Parker, who I got a lot of respect for. I don't know him personally, but Rob Parker, he's got the odd couple. He's an esteemed journalist. I have a lot of respect for him. But the thing with the Hall of Fame is everyone is very subjective. Everybody has their definition of a Hall of Famer. They have these benchmarks in mind. Oh, you got to hit 3,000, have 3,000 hits. You got to hit this amount of, you got to have this many RBI. You got to do this, you got to do that. So all in all, honestly, it's very subjective. But one thing cannot be disputed, okay? There is a polarization when it comes to Beltrán. And as far as the sign stealing thing and whether his numbers are good enough, right? So Rob Parker, who I am a fan of, I've always followed him since when I was a kid. I'm a big fan of Rob Parker. I respect his career. I respect his opinions, even if I don't agree with some of them. And so he made this crazy comparison where he was comparing Carlos Beltrán to Hank Aaron. And he was basically making that comparison. He's like, oh, is he a Hall of Famer? And the first person he came up with was Hank Aaron. And I just scratched my head because I'm thinking, bro, like, why would you, with all due respect, like, you're comparing Beltrán to Hank Aaron? Like, who does that? That was like the most crazy comparison that you could ever come up with. I'm sorry, like, that comparison doesn't jive. It just doesn't jive. It doesn't make sense. How could you compare Carlos Beltrán, to of all examples, right? I mean, you couldn't compare him to Chipper Jones. You couldn't compare him to Andre Dawson, one of these guys. You had to go right for Hank Aaron. I mean, Hank Aaron is arguably one of the greatest baseball players to ever live. I mean, come on, like what are we talking about? But I digress. In any event, it's good to see him in, the 70 plus WAR, the 300 plus stolen bases, almost 500 homers, 2,700 hits as a switch hitter, the Gold Gloves, 9-time All-Star, the whole thing. The 6th Hall of Famer from Puerto Rico to ever make the Hall of Fame, which is historic in and of itself. So, I mean, I'm pumped. I'm excited. I'm very happy for him. Now, on the Chipper, I was going to call him Chipper Jones. On the Andruw Jones side, so check this out, right? As I sip my coffee, I saw Andruw Jones' whole career. I saw him burst on the scene as a teenager back in 1996. And I got to say, arguably the greatest defensive center fielder I've ever seen, just on the defensive end alone. Now, people want to complain because he was a career 250-something hitter. And obviously, by the time Andruw Jones was 30 or 31 years old, he fell off a cliff. Offensively was not the same player. He was kind of breaking down. I understand that. But I like to compare peak. And when you take a look at peak versus peak, right? When you take a look at peaks of players, Andruw Jones, his defensive dominance was ridiculous. Plus, it's not like he couldn't hit. He hit over 400 and something plus homers. Andruw Jones is one of the all-time great center fielders, even if he doesn't have like those Mickey Mantle numbers as far as offense, as far as batting average, those things go. The first player from one of the Netherlands Antilles islands to make the to make the Hall of Fame. I mean, first player from Curaçao. I give him mad props. Like he's tremendous. And so he gets a lot of credit. He deserves that. This is not the time for us to disparage people and say, oh, this person's not a Hall of Famer. And you see a lot of that, obviously I'm very active on social media, especially with Instagram. And if you allow it to consume you, it will. Like the negativity, like, coño, la gente sí habla demasiado, habla mucho estupideces. And it's like, bro, you don't like, we don't have to agree on everything, but like on a time like this, when somebody makes a Hall of Fame, it means a lot to that country or that nation that player hails from. And so be respectful, right? There's no need to disparage people who are in the Hall of Fame, who are making the Hall of Fame based on whatever, una rivalidad or lo que sea, It was the same thing like when Adrián Beltré went into the Hall of Fame, who Adrián Beltré is my favorite Dominican player of all time. I didn't disparage him. Adrián Beltré was tremendous. I mean, I put him up there. To me, Adrián Beltré is one of the greatest Dominican players of all time. I put him up there. And that to me is not even disputable. That's not debatable. To me, he's, as far as both sides of the ball, offensively, defensively, the longevity, just what he represented, what he did. His numbers are just ridiculous. And so he's a Hall of Famer. And so he is, truth be told, he is my favorite Dominican player of all time. I wanted to invite you guys to check out Baseball Aficionado. Check out bbaficionado.com. That is the official clothing brand and merchandise brand of the Baseball Aficionado. Everything is produced, designed, and created in every possible way by yours truly, Santos, the Baseball Aficionado. So just check that out. Again, bbaficionado.com. You get 10% off of your purchase. You check out the shop. I'm always coming up with new ideas, new merch. If you see me right now, I'm rocking this sweatshirt that I created for representing the 95 Dream Team. También con la gorra de PR. Así que thank you for the support, and check all that out as well. So when we are um, just going around baseball a little bit, now we're starting to see some of the signings and everything take place. And from what I understand, let me just double check and make sure it's true. Um, First of all, last night when I heard that the Mets signed, excuse me, the Mets signed La Pantera or traded for La Pantera last night. Luis Robert Jr. I was like, man, this is great. This is a great move. Luis Robert Jr. I love Luis Robert Jr. He hasn't quite lived up to the hype, but he's had moments, and I think for the Mets, that's a very strong trade. Luis Robert Jr., I feel like it's a really, really strong trade, and I think it's one of those moves that's going to pay off. It's going to pay dividends, no doubt about it. Luis Robert Jr. In the fold for the Mets. I think he needed a change of scenery. Losing all those games with the White Sox, playing over there in that for that terrible franchise. Analytically, the White Sox are not great with hitting philosophy and things like that. I believe that a player like Luis Robert Jr. can really benefit from having um, someone in um, an organization like the Mets who seem to really be analytically driven with a new hitting philosophy. I think Luis Robert, if he can stay healthy, can be a major upgrade for the New York Mets. Let me see. I was hearing that a rumor about Bellinger, that Bellinger has re-signed with the Yankees. I'm looking to see if that's true. Because boy, I'll tell you, if he re-signed with the Yankees, that's a good move for them. I feel like Cody Bellinger has kind of been holding them hostage. No sé, espérate. I'm looking, man. I've heard a rumor of that, but I need to confirm if that's true. If Cody Bellinger actually has re-signed with the Yankees, which if he has, that's a major move. There's no other way to put it. That is a major, major move. If he in fact has re-signed with the Yankees. So let me see. On this day, Bo Bichette is being introduced by the Mets. That's nice. There's like a ton of stuff, But man, I whatever. So that's what I've heard, that this guy has signed with that Cody Bellinger has re-signed with the Yankees. I don't know if it's true, but we'll find out. Anyway, so about the Hall of Fame, right? Hall of Fame is always a really interesting topic because you have people. I always say, like, when it comes to the Hall of Fame, you have two different kinds of schools of thought. You have everybody who's good deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and then you have the other school of thought that is very strict and very like, okay, only the elite of the elite of the elite deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I think it's rare that you ever see the combination of the two. It happens, but it's rare, right? So let's take a look. Let me see what we have in. Let me see something here when it comes to the Hall of Fame. There's some prominent Latinos coming down the pike. So in 2027, in 2028, in 2028 is when it should get interesting, because you're going to have Yadiel Molina and Albert Pujols, who, listen, if there's anybody who deserves to get 100% of the vote for the Hall of Fame, it's probably Albert Pujols. If we're being fair, first ballot, no doubt about it, Hall of Famer. I mean, you could make the argument that Pujols is the greatest Latino player of all time. If you told me that, I couldn't argue with it, Pero vamos a ver. Let's see what happens. Yadiel Molina in 2028 also will be eligible for the Hall of Fame, and he also has a good shot of getting in, but it could be a little more tricky for Yadi, just because there are some people who do not quite view Yadi as a Hall of Famer, because his offense was not quite it didn't stand out quite as much as maybe some of the other catchers we've seen or the elite catchers we've seen. His offense didn't stand out like a Posey or like an Ivan Rodriguez or any of those catchers, but he was good enough, right? And I think where Yadi Molina is going to really shine is his defense, where defensively his metrics are through the roof. His metrics are ridiculous. He's won platinum gloves, nine-time Gold Glove winner. Si no me equivoco, I think he's been an All-Star at least 10 times. Just dominance behind the plate. He is revered. He was a part of 2 championships with the St. Louis Cardinals. I think it's to me, it's a no-brainer. Yadi deserves to be in. Just he's his own. He's kind of like his own player, very unique player, and I think we need to judge every player accordingly. I don't think it's fair to judge every player versus another player. You know, every player is a unique, very unique situation or very unique contributions, and I think with Yadi, that is the case, most certainly the case. So, but we'll see how that goes. Honestly, it's been, we'll see. And then in 2029, you have arguably the greatest Venezuelan player in the history of Major League Baseball, Miguel Cabrera, who, to me, obviously is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, so those are some of the Latinos we have coming down the pike. In years to come, listen, it's gonna go down. It's gonna be a big time. There's gonna be a lot more names, you know. Last thing, right? Last thought before I sign off. La tiraera. It's always fun. I'm talking about la tiraera entre dominicanos, entre dominicano, puertorriqueño, venezolano, cubano, other Latinos kind of going back and forth. It's fun as long as we don't take it to the personal, right? It's fun. I can have fun with Dominicans. I got a lot of Dominican friends, Dominican family, all types of people, like, and vice versa. So it's like we could all have fun as long as we keep it there. We don't go to the personal, right? Keep that in mind. So, well, yes, the Puerto Rico has the most Hall of Famers, tied with Cuba as far as players goes. Obviously, we know that most likely is not going to stay that way. The numbers are going to continue to change. So, but I think on this day, mis queridos hermanos dominicanos, be happy for us. Be happy for Puerto Rico. Let us have our moment. Let us enjoy this Hall of Famer in Carlos Beltrán. Let us enjoy our 6 Hall of Famers. We understand that right now, Puerto Rico, en la actualidad, we are not in our best moment as far as producing high-level talent. Let us enjoy this moment. Okay? I say this respectfully. We know how great La República Dominicana is at producing talent and how much talent is going to come down the pike. But please, for the love of God, let us enjoy this moment. Okay? Este momento es de nosotros. Así que vamos a disfrutar el momento. Let's have fun. Give us our fun. Give us our flowers. And in 2028, maybe we'll have a big party, right? A big Dominiqueño party with Yadiel Molina as well as Albert Pujols in Cooperstown. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts. Comment below. Like, share. This is the first time I've done it in this sort of format. So, pero muchísimas gracias por el apoyo, as always. And of course, as always, live life as if you're in a 3-2 count. Until next time.